Welcome to Mic'd Up Magic with Austin and Katelyn. You are listening to Episode 7, May the 4th Celebration, where we will be discussing all things Star Wars that we love. We hope you enjoy.
Yahoo!
Yahoo!
I started every time the same. I go like, Yahoo, we're back.
We're back, baby.
Yeah. So today is April 28th. So this is our closest episode to May the 4th. So it was your idea to do a Star Wars episode, but I was given the reins. So we'll see how this goes.
Yes, Austin is going to run the episode. I'm sure I'm going to butt in many times because I just am controlling, I guess, but...
No, because you're the expert. You're the professional.
Well, I just want to make sure there's no dead air. So keep the speed rolling, you know?
Keep the ball rolling.
Yeah.
And we did Katelyn got new headphones, if you can't tell, if you're watching the video.
We had these headphones, like, obviously forever because they're just like the old Apple headphones, you know? And at some point they've gotten lost. I think the cat has stolen them and hid them somewhere. I have no clue. We have no clue where they've gone because we have not taken them from this room. And we just can't find them.
They are quite literally not in this room.
Finally, I ended up buying new ones. So now I can hear myself, so I won't keep moving the mic away from my mouth and not being able to hear properly.
Yeah. So this is good. But we are going to start, as always, with some Disney news. I have a couple items. If you have been listening, you know that might be quite shocking in the past few episodes. But I want to start, and I'll put a little image here to kind of show what they showed. But the Wreck-It Ralph attraction at Tokyo Disneyland, they announced that. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
Oh, my goodness. It's going to be so cool.
What is it?
It's just like they haven't said exactly what it is yet, but they're doing like a Wreck-It Ralph attraction.
Oh, what's like the...
It's like a race. I think it's going to be like a race or something through...
cool.
Yeah. But
like Vanellope's thing?
It's like Vanellope and Ralph that are like the image that they showed.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'll pull it up and then I'll show you it.
Tokyo has the coolest rides. Like they're like, I don't know. I feel like they put all the like innovative stuff there first. Oh, okay, cute.
The Race to Tomorrowland.
Oh, that's cute. It's kind of like it's like Sugar Rush, but then
and I'll put the picture that we're looking at right
cute.
in the middle so you guys can see
cute.
it. But yeah, that's gonna be so much fun. That's like such a perfect like franchise for a ride like that.
Yeah,
because it's so like colorful and fun and they could do a really cool job with that. And then that's like the shop inside that they
so
showed.
Cute. It's very Tomorrowland.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, so...
bring it to us.
I know, seriously. So we have that. And then the second thing I was going to talk about is Pixar Fest at Disneyland.
Ugh.
There are some really cool meet and greets there right now.
Oh my God.
Is it still right now? I think it's right now.
Yeah, it's right now. I think it's for a month. I don't know.
Oh.
I totally could be making that up.
Yeah. But, so you can meet Luca and Alberto.
Very cute.
Very cute. Ian and Barley from Onward.
Very cute.
And finally, you can meet Wade and Ember.
I want to cry.
Yeah.
I wish we could meet them in friggin' Disney World. Oh my gosh. I just love them. I will say, like, their look, you know, I'm not going to say the other word. Their look, a little weird sometimes.
You think?
I've seen a couple faces where I'm like,
yeah, a little creepy.
Like, not like totally, but it's hard to do. Like they're literal elements.
Yeah.
So it's like I feel like they did a good job for what they could do.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Disneyland always gets those they do those events and there's all these
we will go
unique characters and stuff. It's so cool. It's just one of those things rats. We don't get the.
We will go.
At some point we will for sure.
Hopefully in 2 years.
3 years, right?
No, every 2 years.
Oh yeah, because it's this year, so 2 years from now. Yeah.
Hopefully.
That's our plan. Hopefully for the next D23.
Yeah.
That's our tentative plan.
Mm-hmm.
And then also I wanted to talk about something that you are very excited about is the character headbands.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I can't get too excited about them because they're not announced in Disney World yet. However, these were originally obviously in Tokyo first. It was a Tokyo or Hong Kong. I'm not 100% sure which park they were in, but they were in one of the Asia parks. And basically you buy a headband, like a plain headband, and then you get to pick freaking heads of characters to put on your headband, and then you can like, you know, mix and match or whatever. So you could have like Lotso, Mickey, and like Chip or something, you know, on your headband, and it's like the cutest thing ever. It's so like Tokyo, and I really feel like they're testing it out in Disneyland first, because again, Disneyland's a smaller park, there's less people, blah blah blah. So I feel like that's what they're doing, is they're like testing the waters to see how it'll do in America, and then they'll hopefully bring it to Florida, because you know I will buy every head, because that's all you have to do.
You will have a lot of those heads.
That's all you have to do, is you just have to buy the headband, and then you can buy every head, and then you can just mix and match.
One headband for any event.
Already what I want. I don't know why I want this so bad. I want Chip and Dale. I don't know why. As like ears. I don't know why. I have no clue. I just, in my head, I'm always like, that is what I would do. I would get Chip and Dale.
And it's good because you could wear it for so many different things, because you just change out the characters.
100%.
I mean, who knows how much the little characters are going to be, so.
You know they're going to be expensive. I bet you I have no clue. I bet you the headband's like $15. And then I bet you it's 15, because they don't want to make it too high.
Yeah.
And then I bet you each character's 12.
Yeah.
That's my guess. 10 or $12.
Well, you know.
That's my guess.
But anyways, so you were very excited when we first saw those.
Oh,
they posted there at Disneyland.
Yeah, I posted on my Instagram story, and I was like, bring this to Walt Disney World.
Yeah. And then the only other thing that I didn't write down, but I just kind of remembered as we were talking, is they announced they announced the land that's going in Dinoland.
Yeah, I saw this in passing on somebody's post, and it was like a fairly credible source. Yeah. But they're changing Dinoland to the Americas, Southern Americas. I think it's
something like that.
I think it's Southern America.
So they left it more. If this is accurate, we could just be talking complete nonsense in the next like 3 minutes. You could just completely ignore. But from what we read, is that they're keeping the theming of the land more general. And
kind of like how they have, you know, Africa and Asia already. Yeah. That's why they're doing the Southern Americas, because then that way they can bring in a bunch of different IPs with it. So the one that I saw was they were hinting at Encanto and Indiana Jones, which totally makes sense, because they're probably just going to change Dinosaur into Indiana Jones, because that's already the like thing that they have. It's the same ride, you know what I mean? And then they'll bring in Kanto, because it's like huge with people right now. So but
anyway, so I think that's like more or less confirmed that that's
I
what
think
it's
it is.
be.
I think it is. I don't know. Again, like I don't know.
But yeah. So that's kind of all I have. Do you have anything else that you had that I didn't get, or that you were thinking of?
You took the reins on the news there, so that was perfect.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so now we will get into the meat and potatoes of this episode. Woohoo! Star Wars. So, and I have I'm sure if you've been watching the video, you noticed I have my shoulder plush of Baby Grogu Yoda on my shoulder.
And we each have our Star Wars apparel on.
Yes, Star Wars shirts.
Repping Star Wars today.
Yes. So, I just kind of wanted to start this off by kind of going through how each of us were introduced to Star Wars and kind of got into the Star Wars universe. Mm-hmm. So for me, we both grew up during the period. We were young when the prequels came out. So episode 1 came out, I think, when we were like 2, and then episode 2 came out a couple years after that, and then I think we were like 8 when episode 3 came out. So I specifically remember going to watch episode 3 for the first time at the drive-in with my family.
Oh, that's fun.
And it was like, I think it was the second movie or the third movie. Like, it was really late, and I was only like 8 years old. But I remember staying awake for that whole movie, and I watched it, and like just the whole, like I just have such like a vivid memory of watching that movie at the drive-in.
That's the drive-in by.
Yeah,
like
the regular one. So those movies, like, that was the ones that I grew up with. So I've always loved the prequels. Hayden Christensen, like Ewan McGregor, like I never was one of those people that like crapped on Hayden Christensen, because I know he got a lot of crap for that role from I think like the older crowd. like right when the movies came out. This is what always happens with these
Well,
kind of
it
things.
makes sense because when I talk about mine, it's going to be the same kind of pitch.
So when these movies first come out, everyone always craps on them because they go back to the previous movies, and then they think that they were just so much better and blah, 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 whatever. There's always critique, but I was never in that thing because that was when those movies came out. So I've always just loved the prequels growing up. And then, so kind of going through all the movies, we watched all the movies. And then as the Disney Plus shows have come out, obviously we've watched all of those and I've watched all of those. So, but my real start was when I was real young. Like I was always like a Star Wars kid. And then I actually I think I watched the first one or two of the Disney Plus shows. I think the first season of Mandalorian. And then I went back and watched the animated stuff. So that was when I went back and watched Clone Wars and Rebels. And I watched
that would have only been a couple, like not a couple years ago, but like
it was well after they were actually out.
Yeah.
So the final season, it was before Bad Batch because I wanted to watch all of the stuff before I watched Bad Batch. So then I went back and watched Clone Wars and Rebels, and like we'll kind of get into Clone Wars and Rebels, I think, more a little bit. Will we get into it later, or did I kind of have this section as when we were going to kind of talk about it? I think it was kind of now. But then Clone Wars.
You talk about you, and I'll talk about me.
So, kind of like bringing this all back together. I started off really liking the prequels and the originals, and then now after watching everything, I think I'm like, it's kind of funny because they do all this new stuff and all this new technology, and they have all this like cool, just the way that they can do so much more now with like the technology of how they film all this stuff. But now going back, like I think Rebels is my favorite series of like all of the encompassing things.
I will agree.
Yeah, like just like watching that, it just kills you.
Bro, I think about them.
Yeah.
All the time.
Like
those characters I think about all the time.
The last season, you are just like, it is so painful going through that. The last like couple episodes, like specifically.
Stick to your story.
Anyways,
Don't
sorry.
rope me in yet.
I know. I'm just ranting and like talking about it, but at the end of the day, like, just love all of it. Just love all of it.
Yeah.
Started like really young, and it's just, I love all the new content and how I've been able to kind of keep up with new stuff. And I'll just quickly say that the final episode of Bad Batch comes out on Wednesday. We are behind. We have to watch still all of season 3, but the culmination of the Clone Wars saga basically is coming to an end with that episode of Bad Batch. So I just can't.
Scared.
Yeah, like I'm just terrified.
Scared because we also just watched the last episode of
season
2
and that was a tearjerker.
We had no clue. You didn't know, right? Like
no,
you
I didn't know.
You missed spoilers and stuff.
Yeah, I've kept myself out because we wanted to watch it together and then we just never got to it. So now we've just finished season 2 going into season 3, and that last episode,
sorry,
I'm looking at my man over on my shelf right there and it was a tearjerker.
Okay, my turn.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's reel it in quickly.
I was just ranting for way too long.
That's okay. Okay, so for my Star Wars story, basically growing up, I had only ever seen maybe 20 minutes of the first movie with my dad at our cottage. Like there's a moment I remember of like being, I don't know, like whatever. I was older.
Of
like,
A New Hope or of A Phantom Menace?
A New Hope. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, A New Hope. Like I was like, I want to say I was like 15 or 16 maybe. Like like I wasn't even like a kid. But I just remember watching like a bit of it with my dad and being like, this is lame. Like I was just like, I'm not interested. So truthfully, that's how it was. And then when Austin and I started dating, so we started dating at the end of grade 12. So we would have been like, 17, 18. So it was only a couple years later.
Yeah.
Like obviously we started dating and like you talk about the things you like. And Austin was like, oh, I really like Star Wars. And I was like, okay, like but when you first start dating somebody, you're like, I will watch everything that you like because I want you to love me. So I was like, okay, so we together watched the like original trilogy and then the prequels. But it's so funny because I just always remember you being like, you have to watch the prequels first and then the original trilogy, because it goes in order of episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But now you've changed.
Yeah.
Because you're like, no, watch it in order of the...
It just depends what you want to get out of it.
No, but I'm saying at the time, that's how we watched it. So that's how I watched it. So I was like, okay. And I wasn't like, I will fully admit, I was just like, I don't get it. I'm like, I don't get the draw. Like whatever, it's cool for the time, and I get that it was cool when it came out and like all the technology and blah blah blah, but I'm like I just don't love it. I'm not really following the storyline. Couldn't really tell you what happens in any of these movies after I've finished watching them, and like that was kind of it. And then when The Force Awakens got announced and came out into theaters, it was like 2015. I like looked it up before we started, so it was like 2015. So we had been dating for, actually, I think
we weren't dating it.
No, because we saw it in theaters together.
2015?
Yeah.
Or we
had just started, like that's when we graduated. So it was like we had just watched the show, like the movies, and then we went and saw it because I think you made me watch them because we wanted to go see it or something like that. So anyways, so then when I saw The Force Awakens in theaters, I will say I did not, obviously I wasn't the person that was like, oh my gosh, like this ties into this and this ties into this, but I loved that movie. Like I was like, I love this. Like this is so fun. I love this. So for me, like when I first really was like, okay, I'm like kind of into this, was the new trilogy, which is like all around.
The sequels.
Yeah, is that what it's called? The sequels, yeah. So that's like kind of what got me into them. And then I remember, because that was the first movie, and then like right after it or something, Rogue One came out. And I remember seeing Rogue One and I was like, oh, this is cool. Like I loved Rogue One. And again, I didn't even like know the like lore.
Yeah,
like I didn't like get it.
Gets to the end and it's like the last scene. And I think you kind of clued in when it showed Leia on the ship. You were like, oh damn.
I was like, oh, that's really cool.
But like the whole time how they were trying to get the plans for the Death Star, like,
yeah,
I mean, it was kind of like that with everyone, because they didn't really specifically say it, and then there was like the reveal at the end.
Yeah.
But like you didn't get all the like little stuff.
Yeah.
But
I still enjoyed it.
Like talked about that movie for like ever as being your favorite.
I still love it. It's still considered one of my favorites. Yeah. But yeah, so then that one, like the combination of the sequels and then Rogue One really like pulled me in. And then I was really only ever interested in the movies. Austin then obviously went and watched all the shows, and he was watching all the Clone Wars, Rebels, all that stuff. And I was like, I'm not interested. But he's like, I really think you'd like them. I really think you like them. And then
I will just like say, like put a little like tidbit in here. Starting with Clone Wars, because I'm of the opinion like you have to start with Clone Wars. Like you can't just watch Rebels. You have to watch Clone Wars first. And the first season of Clone Wars is a little tough.
Slow.
Yeah, it's a little tough. Because I think they were making it as a kids show, so it's not as in depth. But as you get into it, it's unbelievable. Yeah. So I had tried watching it once, quit, then I went back and watched it all again, and then I tried to get you to watch it, and I think you tried to watch the first couple episodes like 3-4 times, and you were just like,
not. I'm like, I can't do it. So anyway, then I didn't watch it, and then Ahsoka. Then Ahsoka started to kind of like, I'm gonna say she kind of picked up in like, at least in like my
mainstream popularity.
Yeah, for like what I like, consume on the internet. Yeah. She was somebody who kind of popped up a lot for me, and I was like, who is she? Like, I don't know her. Why does everybody love this girl so much? So then Austin was like, well, like blah blah blah. He kind of explained her. And then he's like, what you can do, because then obviously Ahsoka show was announced and was about to be coming out. So he's like, what they've done on Disney Plus is that they have all the Clone Wars episodes of just Ahsoka
Essentials.
Yeah, Ahsoka Essentials on Disney Plus. He's like, you can just watch those, and it doesn't really like it doesn't ruin your experience watching Clone Wars. Like, you just might miss out on a few things. Well, but for Ahsoka, it's fine. So I was like, okay, I will try that. So I'm like that's what kind of got me into watching Clone Wars. Yeah. And I will admit, I still have not watched all of Clone Wars because there's just so much, but I haven't watched them all. So I did watch the Ahsoka like grouping, and I was like, oh, I love this. Like I
Yeah.
loved watching all the Ahsoka stuff. And then Austin was like, you cannot watch Ahsoka before you watch Rebels.
The live action Ahsoka show.
Yeah, Ahsoka.
Yeah.
So you can't watch Ahsoka before you watch Rebels. He's like, because it's heavily intertwined.
Literally.
So I was like, another one of these lame, like, like animated blah, blah, blah.
Kid shows.
I start Rebels. And I will say the first season, I was kind of like, it's slow, but then towards like the last 2 episodes, I think it's like, oh, okay, this is like interesting. And then you're hooked. And then I watch Rebels. I literally, like I said a little earlier, like I have never felt so like attached to characters before in my life. Like I was just like enthralled by these characters. I literally could cry thinking about them. I'm really not going to cry because this is a Star Wars episode. Like, let's not freaking cry, you big baby.
Well, there's some.
But like I absolutely loved Rebels. So then I watched Ahsoka, the show. Obviously loved that show. That is easily my favorite show that Star Wars has done. Like that's like live action. And then like for animated, Rebels, easily my favorite. So like, and then honorable mention to Bad Batch that we're currently watching right now, as Austin said.
So
really good.
It's just interesting because I was in from the beginning and then you got into the sequels, so we have like differing opinions on like certain characters or like just the movies that we enjoy more.
And that's exactly it, because it's like, everybody craps on Rey. Like I feel like it's such a thing to crap on Rey, but like Austin said, when the prequels came out, everybody crapped on Hayden Christensen as Anakin, sorry. I was like brain fart. As Anakin. So it kind of is similar, where exactly like Austin said, it's like people instantly try and relate it to this and they say it's not as good, it's never as good as the originals. But then guess what? In 20 years, when they go and do something else Star Wars related, they're gonna look back and be like, that was an amazing series and Rey was such a cool character and blah blah blah. It's gonna happen. So whatever. But again, if it's something that it totally makes sense, where it's like if you got brought into the franchise from a certain character or from a certain series, like it makes sense that those are going to be your favorite characters and like that you're going to enjoy it more than like the average folk will. Yeah.
And people just at this point
people just like to crap on Star Wars. I feel like
they
like
do,
Star Wars fans.
But also I think the fact of just because there is so much content and there is so much, like even books and like the whole like universe just has so much content to it. So anytime they do anything, there are people who just overanalyze every single frame of every single shot and are like, this doesn't line up with this, or this should have been like this because of this book or other show or episode. Like people just overanalyze it way too much, and you like, really just have to like step back and enjoy it. Like there's going to be parts of no matter what you watch, you're going to see a scene and be like, like, I don't know if I love that. Yeah. But
I'll tell you right now, I'll critique the sequels. Might be spoilers ahead for just the sequels. The only thing I'm not going to spoil though is the shows.
Yeah.
Because the shows, fair, I feel like a lot of people haven't watched them, and I'm encouraging you to go watch them if you haven't.
If you haven't watched Clone Wars, Rebels, Bad Batch,
Ahsoka.
And
then I'm sure people are like, oh my God, what about Mandalorian? We just haven't gotten to like, we watched the first season. We haven't watched the rest.
Yeah, we haven't finished The Mandalorian yet.
But anyways, I was going to say for the sequels, like I hate when they went and just tried to like pretend kill off Chewie, like in the plane. Like they did not need to put that in. Like they didn't need to put, that was traumatizing. They didn't need to put that in. Like they put it in for a wow factor and they didn't need to.
Yeah. That's true.
Like certain things, like that's what I mean.
I think that's more of just like a creative decision, where I'm more thinking of like the one scene that always pops into my head and it just makes me so angry is when Leia flies back into the ship after she's out in space.
Yeah.
I'm like, I get it. Like she's force sensitive and you want to do that, but like, where did that come from? Yeah. She's like frozen in space and just flies back inside. So there is scenes like that where, if I think about it, I'm like, oh, I hate that. But at the end of the day, like, you're never going to like everything 100%. And overall, I do enjoy all the movies. I don't take anything too seriously. People just get crazy and try and overanalyze, like I was saying.
Yeah, it's like, take it for what it is. Enjoy the movies for what they are. Enjoy the story. Like, you know, look at that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, look at the characters, the character development that you have, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, that was all our Star Wars stories, and then some. So yeah.
Okay, so now we are going to move on from the like the content, like the shows and movies, and we are going to talk about the physical space of Galaxy's Edge.
Woohoo! Well, we're not done talking about shows and movies.
No,
I guess,
but we're going to just kind of take a
yeah.
little gander over to Galaxy's Edge, because this, I mean, it's been talked about in so much, but I just wanted to put this in here as well, because I just remember the first time when we went to Disney, it wasn't open yet.
Yes.
We went to, like, you go to Toy Story Land, and we're like looking over the walls like everyone else is. You can see like the mountains and everything, and you're like, oh, like that's so cool. Like, this is going to be so much fun.
Yeah.
And then the first time we went back when it was open, like, the immersion that they created is just so insane. Like,
yeah,
they have like these long tunnels that you go through, so you're just feel like you're going into a completely different world. And then, like,
Disney already is good at immersing people. It's just like Galaxy's Edge just pulls you in even more. So it's
from
insane.
Like the sounds to the, like,
well, they quite literally thought of everything. Like, they thought of, you know, these cast members have to speak a certain way. Like, they can't say good morning, they have to say bright suns, and they can't say you know, money, they have to say credits. And like, you know, like little details, like they are so in on it. And then we know this just because we have, you know, friends who have worked in different parts of Disney. But like Brandon, for example, like he worked in Hollywood Studios and he was in merchandise, and he said he could work anywhere, you know, in merchandise, but he's not allowed to work in Galaxy's Edge because you need special training to work there.
Aren't they not allowed, like, none of the other cast members are allowed to walk in Galaxy's Edge, and none of the Galaxy's Edge cast members are allowed to walk out when they're in uniform? Yeah,
exactly.
To like break the continuity.
Yeah, exactly.
But I just remember, like, the first time going there and like walking through, and then like you kind of turn that corner and you can start to see the Falcon, and you like go down, and like it is just so cool. And like you just feel like you're like a kid again every time you go there, because they did such a good job with just the theming and just with everything.
Well, it's also very cool too, because like I'll even say, like, I'm somebody who, like, I don't like to spoil things necessarily for myself, but I do like to watch walkthroughs of things before I go to them, because I just like to have an idea, because I just feel like I'm a little bit more, like, I like to have my bearings.
Like to be prepared.
Let me tell you, even if you have watched if you've never been there, if you've watched a million Galaxy's Edge videos and like walkthroughs and whatever, you will not know where you are. And that's so cool. It literally is like, you're like, oh my gosh, this is here. Like, I still, when we're in Galaxy's Edge, I'm like, where is this? I'm like, I cannot remember how to get to this certain specific place. But it's like, that is the coolest thing about it.
Yeah, it's not like it's
coolest,
like it's not like it's a bad layout or confusing layout or whatever. It's just like something about like it's almost chaotic, like all the stuff hanging around, and like the shops, and just like the different decorations they have everywhere. Like, it's just like it really does just pull you in, like you're in like one of these like city town
planets
things, like on one of these planets.
Yeah, like it's very, very immersive, very cool.
And then like even just seeing like Rey or Chewie walking around, or over by those ships, or like the little show that Kylo does at his ship, like,
well, yeah,
there's just so much that it really just pulls you in, and it's just like, it's so cool. And I just remember the first time going there, and it's just it really blows you away.
Yeah, I love spending time in Galaxy's Edge. Like, I could spend an entire day in Hollywood Studios and just be in Galaxy's Edge, honestly, because there's just so much to look at, so much to do. Like, yeah, it's awesome. But I didn't really know where we were going with this section, so I kind of just wrote down like my favorite things.
Yeah. Okay. And then like I was gonna also talk about like the lightsaber building.
Yeah, so, that's in my favorite things.
Yeah, so like that's another thing where like if you are at all a Star Wars person, or have a Star Wars person like in your party when you're going, like,
and you're even thinking about doing it,
if you're thinking about even buying one, like, do the experience.
Yeah.
Like, don't just go buy one of the legacy sabers.
I mean,
like,
if you want to, but
yeah, but and like they are cool. Like, you can get Luke's saber or like what? Yeah, like it's cool, but the experience is just so crazy.
Yeah,
like you go in there and.
Well, I was gonna say, let's like explain it to them first. Like,
yeah,
so basically, what you you can explain it.
Yeah, so you have to make a reservation for it.
60 days out.
And then you basically go in, you check into your reservation, and they give you like a card. And there's 4 different styles of lightsabers that you can choose to build. So before you go in, you have to choose your style. So then they'll call you and say that you're ready to go inside. So you tell them what style you want. They give you a pin.
They give you a pin, and then you also get a little card, like a colored card.
Yeah.
And
those correspond with the type of lightsaber you're going to build. And then when you go inside, there's like a cast member in the middle, and then there's tables all the way around in a circle. And they give you a tray with the parts to build whichever type of lightsaber you want. And there's different selections you can make. I think there's like 2 different parts that you can choose from on each part of the lightsaber.
Yeah.
So just because you pick the same as... Like, if 2 people are going to do it and you both pick the same type of lightsaber, you could build completely different lightsabers.
Yeah. Well, that was yeah.
Yeah. So then you kind of get your tray, and then they have like this whole show that they do. And so they'll be talking you through the process of building the lightsaber and just like how you're connected to the Force and this and that. And then you have like voices of
Jedi past.
Yeah, who are like speaking from the above from the Force.
Yeah.
And then
cool.
one of the coolest things about it is after you build your lightsaber, they bring out this thing, and it has all the kyber crystals on it. And then they tell you have to pick the kyber crystal that calls to you and all this stuff. And just like the environment, it's dark in there, and you have like the mystical little sounds going on, and it's really, really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. So Austin did it the first, like right when it opened, like when we went into Galaxy's Edge for the first time. He did the lightsaber. I did the droid, which we'll talk about later too.
Mm-hmm.
But he did lightsaber, I did droid. And then a couple years later, I was like, I really think I want to build a lightsaber. So then I also do have a lightsaber. And yeah, it's a very fun experience. But I will say, like, the first time you do it, like, even if you do it multiple times, it's still very cool and very like emotional almost when you're in there. But I will say, like, when we went the first time and like you were building your lightsaber and like I just got to stand back and watch, because you're allowed like one person to be in there with you to watch, and like I was just filming, and behind the camera I was sobbing like the whole time. I was like, why am I sobbing? Like this is crazy. But it's just like so cool. And like, the cast members, the ones who like kind of run the building experience, I feel like they do a really good job too. They all feel very like it feels very intense and very real. And again, it's just that immersiveness. And
like, it sounds so ridiculous, but when I was building mine, I was planning on getting a blue kyber crystal just because,
like, he was saying it the whole trip. He was like, I'm gonna get a blue
kyber crystal. And the girl comes over and she's got the thing with all the kyber crystals, and I'm looking, and I pull in and I grab a green kyber crystal, and then Katelyn's like, after we left, I didn't even know you picked green. Realize? And then when he turned it on, it was green, and I was like, oh, or no, maybe I was like, what color did you pick? Thinking I knew it was blue, and then I turned and I saw the green color. I was like, oh, green, okay. But it sounds ridiculous, something about being in there and like the whole thing. Well, like, the whole thing they keep telling you. The green one was just calling, and I had to pick the green one. Yeah, they keep saying, to pick what calls you. Don't just pick, you know, based on this. Pick what calls you. So that's what called them. Yeah, and it's just so cool. Like, I don't know. Everything about that whole place is just incredible. Yeah, it's a very fun experience. It's around, like, just to break down the price, I believe it's around $200. I can't remember if it's like $220 or anything, but it's around $200 to do the experience and get the lightsaber. And then you can buy like extra kyber crystals, which, how much are they? Aren't they like $7? They're like, pretty cheap. Yeah, they're pretty like affordable. So basically what you can do is you can buy the kyber crystals in the shop across the street, and you can just buy the kyber crystals, and that's what changes your lightsaber color. Yeah. So it really does like change up the look of your lightsaber if that's something that you're interested in doing. It's also fun. Like, we just have them. Where are they, Ozzy? Ozzy normally has them just like on the shelf. They're behind. I see them. But yeah, so like you can like display them or whatever. And then
the other like extras you can buy for your lightsaber is like you can get like a belt clip, so you can actually like wear your lightsaber, just the hilt. Like you wouldn't be able to have your whole like the like blade on it, but you could have the hilt, which Austin did do like when we got it. Like he walked perfect. Around the whole time with it on. And then sorry, I just like had a little bit of a burp. And then you can also buy a stand to have them displayed, which I highly recommend getting the stand, like, because you're not going to display it any other way.
No.
Unless I'm sure there's like ones you can buy on like Etsy or something.
Yeah, like unless you want to stand it vertically, I'm sure you could buy like a base for it to stand vertically.
Or like I'm sure they sell ones like, again, not in the Disney parks, but like I'm sure they sell like wall mounts that you could like hang it, and then that way you could actually have your blade on it, because the ones they sell at Disney, it's just like like props up your like lightsaber,
the hilt,
like just the hilt. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those are like the extras that you can buy with it. Mm-hmm. And again, I don't know the prices of like those things, like the belt clip and the stand or whatever, but I would recommend kind of budgeting around like probably like $250 to do it, $260.
Yeah, I honestly don't even know how much they are anymore.
But it's definitely worth it if you're a big Star Wars fan. It's really cool. Yeah. And then the other thing, I guess, can I talk about the Droid Depot? Because I'm the one that we've done it. So the other thing is the Droid Depot. So this is where you go and you get to build your own droid. And this is really, really cute. I remember when it first came out, I feel like between the two, I feel like the lightsaber has held its own a little more. Yeah. In my opinion, just from what I've seen. I could be totally wrong. I don't have Disney's financial, things
breakdown
that they've done. Yeah. But I feel like when you go in, again, you can book it 60 days out, the same as the lightsaber. And then when you go for your time, what they do is you pick what droid you want to build. So at the time that we did it, there was 2 different units you could buy. You could do an R2 unit, or you could do a BB unit. Yeah. Again, they might have different ones now, but those were the 2. And then they give you a little basket, and then they tell you what items to pick, but then you get to pick either the color or like the type that the head looks like, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And then you grab your things off of a conveyor belt, which is really fun because you kind of like wait for your things to go by, you pick them, and then you bring them to a little station, and then you just kind of build it, and there's like a little zzz kind of thing, and then there's a guy that kind of helps you. It's less like an experience. I feel like it's more like a Build-A-Bear workshop type of deal. Yes. Where it's like there's not like a show involved in it, but it's still really fun.
And in there it's cool because you can there's like so much more stuff you can buy.
Yeah, like add-ons to your droid. Yeah.
There's like little add-ons, like some of the different types of droids. You can get like little like serving tray things that like act as if it's like one of the serving droids at like one of the bars, or you can just buy like just random like droid stuff.
Yeah, you can buy like personality chips too, so it sounds a little bit different. And then
you can buy the full size R2D2 for $10,000.
Yeah, I have no clue. It's a lot of money. But yeah, it's cool. It's a fun experience. We have only done it the one time because like whatever, it's not that big of a deal to do twice.
I would love to get myself a chopper.
That's exactly what I was gonna say to you this year. I don't think you can build Chopper though. I think you can just buy him.
Oh, that's fine.
I know, that's what I said too. I'm like, I kind of want Chopper because over here we like on our shelf. I ended up when we did it, I built a BB unit, and I built like he's like all black. Which I do admit he looks pretty slick.
He does look slick.
He looks pretty slick. Austin was like, he's gonna be Sith. I'm like, no. Doesn't mean that he's gonna be Sith.
He's undercover.
Yeah, exactly. He's undercover. But yeah, we have like him, and then we have like a huge R2D2 popcorn bucket. Yes. And like we have a spot for Chopper.
We need a Chopper.
So we might be getting Chopper. I don't know.
He's everyone's favorite war criminal.
He's the best. But yeah, so Savi's Workshop and Droid Depot are like the 2. Oh yeah, and then sorry, the price for the droids. So I believe it was like $150. I could be so wrong. Could be. But I'm pretty sure I knew it was cheaper than the lightsaber.
Yes.
But it's still an expensive experience to do.
Yeah. And then my last point I want to talk about for Galaxy's Edge is Rise of the Resistance. So
that's your last. I have so many more things to talk about.
Well, we kind of talked about it a lot. So I
Okay, sorry. Okay.
Like we can, there's more to talk about, and we can talk about more 100%. Okay. But the last thing that I had written down was talk about Rise, because this was really cool for us too, because when we went the first time, it wasn't open yet. So we went, we kind of saw, you can see like the front and kind of what the queue is going to look like.
A little bit.
The,
like you
like
could
the
like
entrance to the
Yeah,
queue. You can see what that's going to look like.
not the whole queue.
But then when we went back, the first time it was open, obviously we like got up 7 a.m. We got the time for it to
The
go.
boarding group.
The boarding group. And this is one ride where it's really tough, especially when you go now, because it's broken down so much, or like different aspects of the ride are broken down. But the first time we rode it, we thought that everything worked.
Yeah.
We thought everything, it was super smooth process and the ride went great. We did not get Kylo.
We didn't get Kylo. That was the
We
one
had
thing
the
we
screen.
didn't get. Yeah.
But we didn't even know. So I didn't know about anything. I didn't know about the drop. I didn't know about the Kylo animatronic, anything.
Yeah.
And so
I knew about the drop because somebody
Yeah.
spoiled it. I really was trying to stay away from spoilers, but I saw a spoiler for the drop.
One thing that I always like to talk about, because this never works anymore, and I just think it was one of the coolest parts of that ride, is the one scene when you're just going in a straight line, and if you ride it now, on your right, there's like a space battle going on outside. It's like a screen, and it just looks like there's a space battle
It looks
going
like
out.
windows.
But if you actually look in front of you and to the left, there are turrets that when the ride opened, these turrets would come out, and
like,
then you would
boom.
stop, and then it would go back, and then you would go through, and then the one behind you would go, and the one in front of you would go. So you were kind of like weaving in and out of these turrets as they were shooting. And I just like, that was such a cool aspect of that ride. And every time we ride it, I'm so sad that it never works anymore.
Yeah.
But kind of continuing on with what my original point was, is that the second time we rode it on that trip, again, everything worked perfectly. And then we got to the part where the Kylo animatronic was, and he was actually there, and we were like...
But this is what happens. When you come into that room, you like come in straight, and then if Kylo doesn't work, you stay straight. But then if Kylo does work, you kind of turn this way. So when we started turning, I was like, what the heck is happening? And then Kylo Ren turns around, and I was like, oh!
Yeah.
And then when he gets like sucked out of the freaking ship, I was like, I screamed. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, what is happening? Like, it was so crazy.
So like, we just had such a perfect experience with the first couple times we rode that ride, and it really just makes it for us, because like, I know Brandon and Heidi, like, they had a tough go at rides. Like,
I think it took them 4 or 5 times to be able to ride it, because it kept breaking down where they had to evacuate. Like not every time, but like,
or they would stop.
they wouldn't
and, like,
get to this point, and they wouldn't get to this, and they had to like skip the stormtroopers and like all this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, I get it. Like, it sucks.
If that happens to you on your first handful of times you're riding it, like, you're not gonna have the same appreciation for it.
Yeah,
which
your experience.
I totally understand, and like, if I was them, I would probably feel similar. But we just had such a perfect first couple of rides where it just, like, that ride is just 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah,
and
so
like,
good.
I'm just going back again because I just can't stop talking about it. But I remember, like, the first time you ride that, it's terrifying.
It is terrifying.
It is terrifying.
It's terrifying.
When you get caught and then those stormtroopers start shooting at you, and you go in that room with those AT-ATs, and you like go up, and then they're shooting at you, and all the walls are disintegrating around you, and like, it is just terrifying. You were screaming the whole time.
My biggest thing that I always think about, like, I wish if there's one thing I could experience the first time again in that whole ride, is when you get into the transport ship, and then you get captured by the First Order, and then they pull you in, and then you leave the transport ship. When you walk in that thing, you think that you're going to be exiting out. Like, you just think you're going to just walk right through. Like, you think it's like you're going to walk in the one door and then you're going to walk out the next door, because that's how it looks.
Yeah.
But then they come out the same door you came in, and you're like, how the hell did that just happen? Because when you look at the whole ship when you're walking in, it doesn't look like there's any room for this thing to turn around.
Yeah.
But obviously there's mechanics in there, then it's smaller and it just turns. But it was like, I just remember that being like, that is insane. How does that work? Like, I was so like mind blown about how that worked.
Yeah.
But like, that, if I could experience that for the first time again, I'd be like, and I think like a lot of people aren't like that, like, wow about, but I'm like, that was so cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love Rise. It's so fun.
Yeah. And like,
And I will say too, like, I am not a big line waiter. I will not wait longer than like 45
Nope.
minutes in a line. Okay. We waited actually in that line on our last trip for about 75 minutes. Didn't feel like that. Like I would say like that is one of the lines that like, if it says like a 60-minute, 70-minute wait, I'd say honestly, it's one, it's worth it. And two, like, it's an interesting queue to go through.
The queue is so cool.
And you have to realize too, like, they have multiple points in their queue. So like, you know, you have your first bit of the queue and then you're in like the showroom, and then you have the next little
Ray and
bit,
BB-8 room.
and then they turn you, and then you're in the stormtrooper room, and then you're waiting in another line, and then you're going here, and then so it's like they do a good job to break it up where it doesn't feel like it, because really like it only takes like 30 minutes or whatever. If it says 60 outside, it only takes 30 minutes to get to Ray, because it's another 30 minutes.
Is the posted time to the actual time you board the ride vehicle?
Yeah, that's what I think.
If anybody else knows better, please let us know.
At least that's how it feels, because it really does feel like it goes by fast.
But yes, adore that ride.
Yeah, very
Anyways,
good.
Do you have more comments?
Well, I was just going to talk about different areas of Galaxy's Edge and like cool little bits. Like the marketplace, I feel like in Galaxy's Edge is really cool. So basically how they have it is that like it's to me, like, I mean, very like not like this, but like it's like an outdoor mall, like, you know, like it's like a strip mall, but it's like on the two. So it's like in the galaxy. So they have all these different little booths that sell different things. So like you have your creature store where you can buy the different pets. And then you have like the little trinket store where you can buy all the little trinkets. And then you have like your popcorn stand where you can buy popcorn. And then they have, what else do they have over there? Like the game store where they have all like, they look like handmade games and stuff. Like I love that marketplace.
Like the robe. Well, we can get like the robes.
Yeah, you can get robes in one spot. Like I love all the little markets, and it feels very like, not to bring up like other IPs, but like it feels very like Harry Potter Wizarding World.
Oh yeah.
Because it's like when you're walking through, is it Diagon Alley where you're like in the shops and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're walking in all the shops, like that's kind of how it feels, which is I think it's
on a
very
smaller scale, but
yeah, much smaller scale, but it's very like, it's cool. Like I really like it, and it really does again look like in the movies, like how they have different, like I don't know what specific movie, I'm sure they've had like marketplaces, but it does feel very like immersive always. Duh. So that was I just wanted to give like a little shout out to the marketplace, because I do really like that area. It's even though we never buy anything from there ever. Yeah.
It's almost like a Tatooine kind of vibe.
That I was more thinking like Jakku, like you know, like when Rey, like it's not
like
exactly like that, but yeah, like how she's in that market, like when she goes to sell the stuff to get her like little, what are those called?
Her like food.
Yeah, her food, but they call it something. Yeah. Anyways, it's kind of like that, but then like kind of gives Tatooine, but kind of I don't know. Anyway, so I like the market. If you've never like been over by that area, like I'd recommend going to see it. It's pretty cool. Yep. And then the milk stand. I love me a blue or green milk. I don't care what color it is. Nope. Give it to me. Put it in my belly. It is so good. It is so not what you would think it would taste like or feel like, and it's very good. I love it. Like
refreshing.
It's refreshing. We get it on every trip. It's a little bit pricey for sure, but little tidbit, if you're on the dining plan, a blue milk is considered a snack credit. Blue or green is considered a snack credit. It's $7 for a snack credit. Normally you're getting like a $5 snack for a snack credit. So it's definitely worth it if you're doing that. But yeah, love the milk stand. And then I was going to talk about Oga's Cantina also.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to take over for a second here about Oga's.
Okay.
The first time I keep saying this with everything. The first time you walk in, it's cool.
But not even just the first time.
It's cool every time you go everywhere in Galaxy's Edge. But I just have such vivid memories of the first time we went everywhere because I was just so blown away. But the first time you go in that place, you are in the cantina.
You are
like
bumping.
From the movies. Yeah. Like you feel like you are there and there could be a bounty hunter sitting down beside you about to blast somebody.
Yeah.
Like the music and like all like the big tanks that they have like all of the like drinks in and how they pour them and like DJ Rex bopping along over in the corner.
Yeah. Again, it's a very immersive experience. Everything about the Oga's Cantina is just cool. Like they have little things that will happen. Like I saw somebody's story the other day, and a stormtrooper went into Oga's Cantina, and they like stood beside, like they stood at the bar. Like it's just like cool, right? So, I really enjoy it. It's like, again, a very immersive experience. Definitely pricey. Again, like you're paying a premium to go do it.
Alcohol at Disney.
Yeah, but this is also something that you can book ahead. Like you can book 60 days out, like a normal dining reservation. But like now you're pretty much able to go whenever. Like most of the time you can do a walk up. You might not be able to like go in
Walk
that
right
second,
in. Yeah.
but they'll be like, yeah, it's like a 15-minute wait. But yeah, it's really cool and really fun.
We have every single collectible mug.
Yeah, we have
there.
every collectible mug. So Disney, you need to start getting new mugs.
No,
because we need more.
No, we don't.
I'm like, you need to bring it. Well, they should, because at the bottom of all the mugs it says first edition. So, like, I feel like they should be bringing out more, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun. Love it. Honestly, I can't really pinpoint like what drinks are good or not good. Everything we've tried though, and I'm pretty sure we've tried almost everything there, all of it's good. So I like whatever. Yeah, and then the other things I had written down we already talked about. So yeah.
And then, like, I guess the only other real thing about Galaxy's Edge is they have, like, that bounty thing you can do.
Yeah, that's that new... It's like a new little game that you can do if you have a Magic Band Plus. We tried it for 2 seconds, quite literally, but it was sweltering. So I feel like it's going to be a great little thing to do, you know, at night or around, like, Christmas time, maybe when it's a little bit colder in the parks, because it, holy moly, is hot just walking around the middle of Galaxy's Edge.
And, like... it's so upsetting to me because thinking about that one that was in Magic Kingdom before.
Sorcerers
of the Magic. Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah. I was gonna say Sorcerer's Apprentice, but that's...
So like those little games that you can do in the parks for free are just like, I say free, but like you have to get in the park, obviously, whatever. But like there isn't an additional cost for like these little activities you can do. And like the Play Disney app has a lot of stuff like that too for like in the queues and with the statues and whatever. But I just love like a fun little activity. You can just kind of, if it's busy, you don't want to wait in lines, or if whatever, you just don't feel like riding the same things again. Like, I
mean, and that's also coming from us who like we go every year. We've been multiple times. Like if you're going for your first time, you're not going to give a crap.
You're not playing the bounty hunters. You're not going to catch bounties in Galaxy's Edge. But I like those things, and we say that. But on our first trips, we did do sorcerers. Like that was something that was fun.
We were also there for 2 full weeks, and we
enough.
Were like,
we were
need
there for 2 weeks.
To do. Not that we were bored, but we were like, Austin was like, I can't ride Pirates for the 21st time.
I love Pirates, but we rode Pirates so many times on our honeymoon.
Every time I walked past, I was like, do you want to ride Pirates?
I'm like, no.
No, but you said yes every time until like the last 3 days. He was like, no, I don't. I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, I thought you liked it. He goes, I do, but not for the 27th time.
Yeah. I would absolutely love if they brought sorcerers back. I don't think they ever will, but
I do not think they will.
If you don't know, I'm gonna go on a tangent here on a side note.
This is a Star Wars episode. Don't get into that.
Okay.
Don't get into it.
Never mind.
Sorry, guys. I shut him down on that one.
Leave a comment saying that you wish you would have learned about sorcerers.
You'll talk about it later. Okay.
That's it for our Galaxy's Edge?
Yeah, that's all I had.
Ramble?
Yeah.
Okay, so now this is, I'm going to say it's our top 3 characters we're going to talk about, but it is not a top 3 on my board. I'm just telling you that right now.
I stuck to the rules.
This is impossible.
You were the one that came up with this.
I know I did, but this is impossible.
Okay.
There are way too many characters that I love, and so it's going to be tough.
Okay.
So, want to do like 1 and 1 or like?
Yeah, can we start from like number 3? Like, because I did them in order of like my top. Like number 1 is my like number 1
favorite. Oh, so you want to start at the bottom of the list?
Yeah, we'll start at number 3, work our way up, and then your honorable mentions, because I think you have 20 of them.
No, my number 3 is going to be the one that's going to make you. That's going to be the controversial one.
Okay.
So my number 3 is the Ghost Squad from Rebels. That is including Sabine, Zeb,
That's so
Hera,
stupid.
Kanan, Ezra, and Chopper.
So that's 6 characters.
That is, and also on the website they actually say that Jason is Spectre 7, so it's actually 7. And just even thinking about Jason is sad. But you know what? I don't care.
So
I don't care. Those characters, I can pick one. I love them all, and
that's fair.
that's my number 3.
Okay.
The
fine.
whole Ghost Squad.
Fine.
Spectre 1 through 7.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
If you don't know, those are all the characters from Rebels.
Yeah. It's tough. I it's my podcast episode, so.
Okay. All right. My number 3 is, you might be shocked by this, I feel like, for it being in the number 3 category. But my number 3 is Rey.
I'm not surprised at that.
You're not surprised at Rey's number 3?
She
was my favorite for a really, really long time. But then obviously I got introduced to some other characters that I love a little bit more than her. But yeah, I love Rey, again, because the series, like the sequels, really brought me into like Star Wars, and I love that like the main character was a female character. It really like truly, it really did help bring me in to the like franchise. So I just loved her. I thought she was great. I loved that she was kind of this like, I love that she was a nobody for a really long time. I really loved that aspect of it. And I was just like, it's nice because it feels like, I think the thing I liked about her was that she was learning about it as was I. So it was like everything was described very like simply.
Yeah.
Because she was learning about it too. Like she didn't really know. She knew a little bit of the lore, which kind of was like me. And then like she kind of, built her way in.
That's true.
So I love that. And I think that's why it helped me like kind of get into it. Cause it was like, it helped. It was like, oh, I understood it a little bit more, but I loved her. I love Rey. I think she's great. I love meeting her in the parks also.
Yep.
I love when we see her in the parks, but yeah, Rey's my number 3.
My number 2 is Ahsoka Tano.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't think. I mean, I guess she would be on your top.
I love Ahsoka. Clone Wars is.
I could cry.
Yeah, like her arc in Clone Wars is just like it doesn't get better. It doesn't get better than that.
Yeah.
And then going into Rebels and then going into her own show, like how it just continues on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
And then into the stuff afterwards, like
Well, yeah, because like we watched the first Mandalorian before like I watched any of like the Clone Wars or the Rebels or anything like that. So like I was introduced to her
Rosario Dawson.
Yeah. I was introduced to her as like what she is now, kind of.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, like I didn't really know her then, but I was like, okay, she kind of cool, like whatever. But yeah, I love her. She's also my number 2. Again, like all, if there's any, I don't know. Do we have a lot of male viewership? I don't really know, but any of the males are going to be rolling their eyes because I'm like, all mine are top, like all my top 3 are women because the women in Star Wars are quite literally like the coolest like characters, truly. But like, yeah, she's just badass and I love her and Anakin.
Oh, here come the tears. I knew they were going to come at some point. Whether it was talking about Kanan or whether it was talking about Ahsoka and Annie. I knew it was coming.
The shows are so good, you guys.
Yeah.
No, but like seriously, like.
I know.
Why am I crying so much?
That's what these characters do, man. if you've watched the animated stuff and then you watch the Ahsoka show, there's one episode in particular that everyone will know which episode I'm talking about who's seen it all, with the throwback, with the flashbacks. Once you've seen that, you just start even thinking about that character, like you just can't hold it together. Like,
okay, I really want to say what I was gonna say, but I don't know if I'll be able to.
Yeah.
No, but I just love the duo-ship of Anakin and Ahsoka, and I feel like Anakin's story is already so incredibly heartbreaking.
Yep.
But like on the level of Ahsoka, and it makes it so much more heartbreaking, and you're just like, why did they do that to Anakin? And like also like why? Why?
Yeah, because it's funny because if you haven't watched the shows and stuff, it's like it's already heartbreaking with Obi and Annie. Like that's heartbreaking. But then you don't even know because then watching Clone Wars.
Well, okay, hold on. Let's explain this quickly to like the people who don't know. Ahsoka is Anakin's Padawan.
Yeah.
So he was teaching her, like as a child, basically.
Yeah, and during the Clone Wars is when this is all going on. So technically, like Anakin was still young, and technically he shouldn't have had a Padawan, but because of the war, he did have one, and it was Ahsoka, and so they were kind of.
And like he was still technically learning to be.
Yeah, like they
but
were.
She was also learning.
Yeah. And then they're just their development and both of the ways that their characters go. Obviously, Anakin into Darth Vader, Ahsoka into like leaving the Jedi Order and becoming her own thing. Like it's all very emotional,
triggering.
Yeah.
So anyways, back to Ahsoka. Love her arc.
Yeah. Animated and live action.
Live action. They did such a good job with the live action. I was so happy with how they did the live action. It was insane. But yeah, anyway, sorry. Okay. You can go to your number one.
Okay. And my number one, speaking of Ahsoka, is Annie. Anakin / Darth Vader. Yeah. That like his whole development into the final scene of Return of the Jedi, coming back and then being able to come back as a Force ghost, like the whole thing is just
it's heartbreaking. His whole arc is so heartbreaking. Poor Anakin. I love him. He's not my number one though. You know my number one.
Yeah.
I can't even say her name.
Here we go.
Okay. Why am I crying so much? I literally think it's because I'm PMS. That doesn't help.
Well, that doesn't help. It's also very sad.
I love Hera Syndulla from Rebels. She's like mom, like truly, like she is just like your mother. Like I love her so much. She's mother, but she's also mommy. Let's be real. But I love her, and like
that's gonna be a TikTok.
That's gonna be a clip. But like I just love her. So she's basically like, how do you describe who Syndulla?
She's a general. She's a general for the rebellion.
Yeah.
And she's the leader of the Ghost Crew in Rebels.
Mm-hmm.
She's the pilot. She's the glue that holds that squad together.
Yeah. So, yeah, like she doesn't really have any like link to like, cuz you know how Ahsoka's like linked to Anakin, who's in like the main storyline. Like
the Rebels characters are all like their own thing.
They really are their own identity, but like Hera is just like.
And then even is it Rogue One that there's a call out to General Syndulla? They call her over the loudspeaker.
Who? Yeah. What is it?
I think it's in Rogue One.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is too. But yeah, so she's very like, it's a very like side character. Like she's not in the main storyline, but
she's a side character if you only watch the movies.
Yeah, that's more what I mean. Sorry. But yeah, so she is just, I don't know. I just love her. I love her so much. I loved her from the second we started. Like the second you start that series is like you just feel so comforted by her. Like she really is like one of those like comfort characters. And then you're ripped apart by her arc. Like just like I don't want to spoil like just like, what happens to
her love interest.
Like, yeah. Well, that's kind of a spoiler.
No, her and her love interest.
Yeah, it's just sad. It's just sad. So anyways,
yeah.
Just the whole thing. I just love her. I don't know how else to describe it. I just love her.
And then it's always funny. Or I remember it was funny when there are other episodes of other shows that involve some of the characters from Rebels at different stages in their life. Mm-hmm. And I remember when we were watching them, there's one with Hera, and you were like,
I sobbed the entire. Like I think there was 2 episodes. And I sobbed the entire 2 episodes. And then also at the beginning of
Bad Batch, there is another one.
There's a cameo of
another
I think we
character.
can say it. Oh, maybe not. Okay, fine. There's a cameo of another character, and I wasn't expecting it, and I also sobbed. But this is how I know I love Rebels so much, and I love all of them because they're just all. I don't know why they stick with you so much. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't know either. But that show that they did such an incredible job with that show.
Yeah.
And I think comparing it to Clone Wars, like Clone Wars has so many episodes and so many seasons.
Yeah.
And it's almost too much. Like if you watch all of it, it's almost too much. Like you don't remember half of what goes on.
Yeah, Rebels is like perfectly condensed.
And the other thing, like in Clone Wars, is there's so many different storylines going on at the same time. So you'll have episodes with Obi or Annie or Ahsoka or all these different characters, but not all of them always together and whatever, blah blah blah. Where Rebels is really like
your core.
This is the squad.
Yeah.
And sometimes a couple of them split off and do their own thing and whatever, but it really is like about the team.
I feel like that's also why I love Bad Batch so much too, because it's a similar vibe. It's like your group. It's like your team, your squad.
Yeah. And again, like Rebels is like, I think it's a perfect length. Like there's 4 seasons or 3 seasons.
4, I think, but I wish it was longer.
It's not too long. It's not too short. Like you get what you want out of it. And you get the connection, and it's just it doesn't feel like it's drawn out.
No,
but then it's also really nice because you get that callback with the Ahsoka show, where you still get some of those same characters, and you still get that itch. You fill that itch.
You get more of an itch. I didn't realize how heavily involved the Rebels characters were going to be in Ahsoka. I was so happy. Like I couldn't believe it. Yeah.
And then, so that's kind of our top 3s. Mm-hmm. And then I have a million honorable mentions, but I'll limit it to a few.
I have one. Because I told you what,
okay, so you do yours first.
Yeah, because like I would say like I love Anakin too. I also, I love Kanan.
Yeah.
But my honorable mention that I wrote down was Chopper.
Yeah. He was included in my Ghost Squad.
Okay. Yeah, fair. But yeah, I love Chopper. He's like, I think he's my favorite droid. BB-8 for a really long time was my favorite droid because I loved his like funniness. Like I love that. But Chopper is like, Chopper's like so much funnier. So Chopper is Hera's droid. Yeah. And he is just hilarious. He is like, it is so funny how they are able to make such personalities out of like droids or animals or whatever, like Disney, Star Wars, Marvel, whatever, whoever does it. But anyways, Chopper is just so grouchy. Like he's so grouchy. Everything he does, he's like yeah, like he's just pissed off. Like it's like Hera's like, can you go do this? He's like, oh my, like he's like, are you really gonna make me go do this right now? But he's so funny. I just love him. I think he's such a good character. He adds so much comedic relief to Rebels, like as a whole. And I love him.
And I adore him in like obviously in Rebels, but they did an incredible job with him in the Ahsoka show. When he is talking, you can hear what he's saying. Yeah. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, you know what
and it's saying. He's just beeping along, but you can literally you can hear what he's saying to Hera.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but cool. I love Chopper as well, but my honorable mentions, so we didn't even talk about like any of the OG characters really. Like
isn't that crazy?
I mean, I had Anakin, but that was it.
But I guess like I'd put in my honorable mentions like
Leia.
Here we go. Leia, Padme. Yeah. I love those two.
But I got Luke, Obi-Wan, Han, R2, Leia. Like it's impossible to narrow it down.
Yeah, like Star Wars really does a fantastic job at making these characters that you really just fall in love with. They break your heart.
Yeah.
And like it's beautiful to be able to feel so attached to so many different characters in a franchise. Like honestly.
Yeah. And like growing up, Luke was always my favorite character because I mean, how's Luke not your favorite character growing up?
Yeah.
But I think now, like I said, it's Anakin with this all the extra content that I've seen. Like the Clone Wars animated series really does a lot for the Anakin's character. Yeah. And then Han, obviously love Han. R2 was always my favorite droid growing up, again until the animated series with Chopper. And then also I didn't even write this down, but every single member of the Bad Batch.
Yeah. The Bad Batch is a sore subject for me right now. I can't talk about it.
Yeah. Including Crosshair, like all of them.
Stop.
I love them.
Yep. And we're not even done with the series.
And I feel like it's not going to go well.
No, I don't either. You know what always stresses me out? I always say especially watching Bad Batch, I'm like, how come we haven't seen any of these characters?
Oh yeah.
later?
The worst part about them adding content
that's
in the middle of already existing content is, where did these characters go? And don't tell me what I'm thinking is true.
Yeah, exactly. Well, when we started Bad Batch, I said to Austin, I cannot get attached to any of these characters because I was too attached to the characters in Rebels, and it really just broke my heart, and I can't be attached to any of these characters, Austin. And then he's like, which ones are your favorite? I said, I don't even want to tell you because I don't want to be blah, blah, blah. And,
which ones are your favorite? Who's your favorite
of the Bad Batch? Hunter. Yeah. And I'm petrified because I'm traumatized.
Yeah.
And then I also just love Omega.
Yeah.
I love her. I don't
even know.
And I'm scared for her.
Yeah, I don't even know if I
because
could rank
she was
them.
young in Bad Batch, so she should be around.
Yeah.
And she's not.
Yeah.
So I'm petrified.
Yeah, and they want her for that cloning technology, and we know how that went. Emperor got through with that.
I'm scared.
I think, I don't think I could rank them. I think between Hunter, Tech, and...
Well, I also love Wrecker, too. Wrecker's so funny.
Hunter, Tech, and Wrecker. Hunter, Tank. Did I say Tank or
No, you
Tech?
said Tech.
Oh. Hunter, Tech, and Wrecker, I think, are my top 3 favorite. And then probably Echo, and then Crosshair.
I was going to say, but that's so sad. That's so sad about Echo. Like, poor Echo. He deserves more.
This dude went through literal torture. And then I feel like Crosshair, just because we're at that stage in season 2 where he's not a good guy, really.
Well,
but he's starting to come around.
Yeah.
But
don't spoil too much. I don't want to spoil any of the shows because I really want you guys to watch the shows.
That wasn't
especially all my girls. If you guys are watching right now,
yeah,
freaking watch the Ahsoka.
Look at the tears. Look what you could be experiencing.
Look, you could feel this with me. Come on. Come on, girls. Come on. Star Wars is not only for the men.
No, it is not.
Okay, let's go into our top 3 films because we're getting long here.
Hey, we love Star Wars.
I know.
I don't
mind
it.
It's so funny too. Like, yeah, like, I don't know. And I get, not that I think I get this, but like, I'm sure there's people out there that are like, oh my God, it's so like, girls just pretend to like Star Wars and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, I don't know. Like, I'm very grateful that I like obviously tried to get into it because I wanted to have like similar interests to you.
Yeah.
But holy hell, I am so glad that I just love Star Wars so much.
Yep.
And I'm glad that I love this is my like, I like to be different, but like I love the like Rebels so much, and I love that I, like all the little side things. Like I love that so much because it really just makes me feel like I have my own little thing.
Yeah, it's
not like I'm just like I love the movies,
which is fine.
Which is fine if you do, totally fine. But if you love the movies, watch the shows.
All that means is you haven't watched the shows.
Watch the shows. If you get anything out of this episode, watch the shows.
Now, speaking of watching the shows, we are going to talk about our top 3 films.
Yeah, because I will say, actually, we haven't even watched all the shows because we haven't watched Book of Boba Fett.
I did.
You did?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I haven't watched it.
I will rewatch all of them.
And we haven't finished watching Mando.
Which is insane.
Which is crazy because I think we watched the first 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Because Ahsoka's in the 2nd season of Mando, right?
Yes, that is correct, I think.
Yeah, and I think there's 3 seasons. And then now they're going to come out with a movie.
Yes.
Crazy. Anyway.
Grogu and the Mandalorian and Grogu, isn't that what it's called?
Something like that.
Did we? I think I did watch season 3.
I haven't. For sure I haven't. I don't think. I'd watch them again though.
I think this might be fake news. We'll have to look into that. And we haven't even watched Andor, which everybody loves Andor, and you love that time frame.
Yeah, I love Rogue One.
But we just like haven't gotten around to watching it.
We need to like commit to this. Like we need to be like every Tuesday night we're gonna sit down and watch.
Yeah, well,
shows and stuff.
Yeah, my focus right now is Bad Batch. We have to get that done because I have. Not that I've seen spoilers, but I've seen like mini spoilers of like.
Yeah, I just swipe
characters together.
I swipe.
Which isn't really a spoiler at this point because
I swipe.
We've caught up enough where we kind of already know these things. But anyways, I'm just terrified that the last episodes are going to come out and something crazy is going to happen and I'm going to see it and then...
Well, we're going to watch them. Don't worry.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, moving on to the films.
Anyways, films. So we're going to start with our number 3.
Yeah. Want me to start?
Yeah.
Because I think you started last time.
Yeah.
My number 3 is The Rise of Skywalker.
Nice.
And I'm really like hesitant to say it because like there were a few things in The Rise of Skywalker that I was like, not that I like if I get so specific, I didn't like love about it, but I just feel like it was a good overall like finishing off. Yeah. And again, like I really did love the series, the sequels.
Yeah.
Why do I keep calling them the series? The sequels. Yeah, I don't know. That's my number 3.
Yeah. That's my honorable mention.
Okay.
I'll just start with that because it's the
Okay.
same. Rise of Skywalker. But my number 3 is Revenge of the Sith. Episode 3.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think that again has to do with the fact that I remember seeing it at the drive-in and that whole thing. And and Anakin is my favorite character, and that's the culmination of his arc and his transition from Anakin Skywalker to Darth Vader. Yeah. Ewan McGregor, like I love that movie so much. It's dark and it's like spooky, but I don't know. I love that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Kicks off the whole shebang.
Mm-hmm. Of like all the series.
Of like Darth Vader and the Emperor and coming out into the public and the Empire. Like it's just
Yeah. My number 2 is Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Which is I like it for a different reason. Like I do really like Anakin.
Mm-hmm.
But I like honestly like I love the love story / tragedy of Padme and Anakin.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like you really, like Austin said, it's really where it kind of goes from like the light to dark, like you know, figuratively of like Star Wars and the Force, but like it really like it feels like it's kind of like a lighthearted kind of thing, and then it's like like this like things are not good, like you know, in the whole realm of Star Wars. But I was gonna say something else. Dang it.
The balance of the Force.
Yeah. That. But I was gonna say it reminds me a lot of, again, switching to the different IPs.
Mm-hmm.
But my favorite Harry Potter is Prisoner of Azkaban, which 100% is that change of like, it's not these happy movies. It's like these. Oh wait, these are kind of dark. Like these are kind of they're gonna get a little bit dark here, and that's kind of how I feel like Revenge of the Sith is.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my number 2.
And I think also, I'm going to talk about the animated series again, but here we go. The Clone Wars animated series, it's during the same time period as different aspects of Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, and Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
And
it just gives you more. Like
getting those little tidbits of where this character was at this point, or what this character was doing at this point, or
why this person did what they did.
Yeah.
It's
just brings so much more into it, and just thought I'd also mention that.
Yeah. What's your number 1?
Well, number 2.
Oh, sorry, number 2.
I'll skip over number 2.
Sorry.
Episode 6, Return of the Jedi.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Can you remind me? Because I was saying to Austin before we started, like, I don't remember like what each happens in each movie. Like I just remember them all as one. So can you just remind me what happens in that one?
So this is the one where basically at the end, Luke gives up himself to Vader, and then they go, and then they're with the Emperor. Yeah. And then they're fighting, and then the Emperor is about to kill Luke, and then Vader yeets the Emperor off the side, and then Vader ends up dying, and then but they defeat the Empire. Yeah.
Okay.
And then like Han and Leia and everyone, they're on that moon.
Yes.
And they're trying to, and then they're like on like that forest planet with all the little Ewoks.
Yeah. And then they're all celebrating at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Because the war is over.
Because the Empire is defeated.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Got it.
And I mean, that's just
I like that one too.
Yeah, that's just like the end of the original trilogy and the Empire and whatever. Like that's such like a classic episode. It's funny because I was talking earlier about how much I love the prequels, growing up with the prequels and Anakin and blah 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 and everything like that. But my like top 2 favorite movies are from the original trilogy.
I think we have the same favorite. I think we have the same favorite. Number 1. I think so. Mine's A New Hope.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
I just spoiled actually.
Oh, sorry. Oh, so then it's number 2.
Mine's Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, my number 1 is A New Hope. I feel like even though I don't have a nostalgia factor to it, it does feel like there's a nostalgia factor to it, just in the sense of like it's what started everything, and like I just feel like if you watch it as its own, like I don't know if it makes sense, but if you watch it as its own, it's just A New Hope. Like you get the general idea of like
it's the first movie,
what goes on, and like I don't know, I really enjoy it. Again, I think the technology is very cool for like considering when was it, like 70s?
Yeah, I think so.
Like that's just crazy. Like the technology that they were able to do is just insane. So I like it. I like the camaraderie of like Luke, Han, and Leia together. Like I just
77.
Wow. Yeah. So I don't know. I just like that whole aspect of it too. Yeah, I think it's cool. I like it. I also feel like I remember that one the most. Like again, like they all kind of like blur together for me, but I feel like A New Hope is just the one that like I just kind of know it better.
Yeah.
Does that make
well,
sense?
yeah, and it is like the first one, and so it's like there isn't a bunch of stuff you need to know in prior to understand the story, and so like you said with Rey in The Force Awakens,
like Luke's learning about it the
first
first
like
time
it helps.
too.
It helps for you to get into the universe and to learn about kind of what's going on.
Totally.
In the galaxy.
Yeah. And then your number 1 was number 2.
Was Empire Strikes Back episode 5.
Nice.
That one is just like, there is just so much about that movie that is just so cool, and I actually chose my mug today to go along with my favorite pick of Empire Strikes Back because of the Battle of Hoth. But yeah,
cool.
That's the one when Luke, they're on the ice planet, the snow planet, you know.
Nice.
At the start.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and then Han gets captured.
Yeah. I was gonna say my honorable mention.
Yep.
I have 2.
Okay.
Rogue One.
Yep.
Love Rogue One. I already kind of talked about it a little bit, but I really do love it. I don't know. I feel like just the actual cinematography, is that the right word, of that one is very beautiful.
Oh, it is.
And it always stick the first scene, like when they're not the first scene necessarily, but like when they're on her planet before, like when whoever comes to kind of kill her parents, like, you know what I'm talking about? Like when they're on that farm. Like when they're on the farm. I don't know why, but that that visual sticks in my head so much.
Yeah.
And I just love them, and I love her with what's his name? I can't get the names all straight. The guy, like the Andor guy.
Cassian.
Yeah, Cassian. I like him. Like I like the two of them together. I like their droid. The Force was with me. Who's that guy? K whatever.
Oh, K2.
K2, he's hilarious. And then I love the part where they're like, he's like, the Force is with me, I'm one with the Force. The Force is with me, I'm one with the Force. Like, that's just cool. Anyway, that's an honorable mention. And then the other honorable mention is The Force Awakens, which is the movie that like really got me into being like, I get it. I get it. I like Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if anybody has any of their opinions on...
Wait, did you say your honorable mentions?
Yeah, remember it was Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, okay. It was just the one.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you had multiple because you said you had multiple characters, so I thought you maybe had multiple.
No.
Oh, okay. Nice.
But yeah, so if anybody has any opinions on our rankings or literally anything to do with Star Wars, you can reach out to us on Instagram. So Mic'd Up Magic Podcast. Magically Aussie, Magically Katelyn.
Mm-hmm.
Those are our personal ones. Also Magically Katelyn on YouTube, which is where this podcast in video form lives. Mm-hmm. You can leave a comment in the comment section there. On Apple, Spotify, if you could give us a rating, that would be fantastic. Mm-hmm. And we would really appreciate it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's kind of wraps up our May the 4th celebration Star Wars episode.
Yeah. Anytime you guys want to talk about Star Wars, let us know.
Yeah.
We will talk Star Wars.
For sure. And
Awesome will be able to intellectually talk Star Wars more with you. I'm more just like, I love it.
I'm like upper middle of the of the pack. I think like
I
if
think
you
so.
get too in depth with me, like it's going right over my head. But I try.
Yeah.
I try.
Yeah.
But if you guys like this kind of more, it was more of a general episode where we were kind of talking about literally anything Star Wars. If you kind of like that style, I'm sure we could do like a Marvel or even a Harry Potter. Not Disney, but you know.
I mean, I brought up Harry Potter enough in this episode.
Love ourselves some Harry Potter.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure we would both be down for that as well.
Yeah.
So let us know if you like this kind of episode, and what you would like to see in the future.
Well, thanks, Ozzy, for driving this episode. You did a great job.
I think it started a bit rough.
It's okay.
My first little
Baby's first
rant was not very smooth. I need to get into a rhythm.
No, it
but
was great.
if you stuck around to the end, then good on you, because I don't know if I would have if I listened to that first 5 minutes.
Whatever. Okay.
So that is all we have for today, and thank you guys for listening. Bye-bye.
Love you. Bye.